And welcome to the April 8th, 2026 City of Lockport Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. I'd like to call this meeting to order, and we will start by saying the Pledge of Allegiance. So if all would please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Kathy, if you would take roll call attendance, please.
You got it. Quinn.
Here.
Calderon.
Here.
Peters.
Here.
Likens.
Here.
Mychek.
Here.
And Giorgetti.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. First item on our agenda is approval of the minutes from our special meeting on March 25th, 2026. Commissioners, do you have any comments on the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I would ask, I have one comment.
Go for it.
Actually, we have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Calderon, motion by Peters. One comment, Kathy, there's a Scribner's error on that second case. It's just the .003. That's it.
Sorry.
Got it.
Mr. Chairman, might be easier if Commissioner Peters amended his motion to approve the minutes with the correction made, and then it's crystal clear.
Yeah, I will amend my motion to approve the minutes to change the wording on the second case in the packet to be 2026-003, final development plan and special use permit for multi-tenant drive-through development at the southwest corner of 159th Street and Farrell Road.
Is that the one?
Is one correct? Yeah.
Well, it was, yes, that's it. 003. Sorry.
Need a second to
It's
the
just
amendment.
003. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Calderon. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. Okay. The first item under our public hearings section of the agenda is case number 2026-004, special use permit for planned development, preliminary final development plan for mixed-use development generally located at the southwest corner of South State Street and West 7th Street, otherwise known as Livery Row. This is a public hearing, so is there a motion to open the public hearing?
I'll make a motion to open the public hearing.
Motion by Giorgetti, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Quinn. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. I will pass this to staff.
All right, so we are at PZC case 26004. For a summary, this development has been brought to us by Ford Development Investment Group. They submitted an application for a special use permit for planned development and preliminary and final development plans in one step. This will be a 31-unit multifamily development with first floor commercial and retail space. And the property is located at 711 South State. This development is required to go through the plan development process because there is both retail and residential on the first floor. A little background on the site. The applicant is Dan Klister, and he is with Ford Development. As we stated, the location is 711 South State. The parcel size is plus or minus 0.51 acres. It is currently zoned C4 downtown commercial, and it is a vacant building and parking lot right now. Current zoning, this is a map of it, so it's at C4 downtown commercial. To the east, west, and south are also C4 downtown commercial. To the north is RO Heritage Residential and C2 with a special use permit for a carpet business. However, that C2 lot, that red one, is a vacant lot. And then to the northwest is a manufacturing district. This is the proposed site plan. It will be plus or minus 35,000 square feet for mixed-use development. It will be 3 stories tall with 31 1- and 2-bedroom apartments. Retail commercial space will come out to be roughly 4,500 square feet. The site will require demolition of the current Delwood Tire building that is on the property right now. On the west side of the building, which will be the rear side of the building, there will be 39 parking stalls. And on the north side, there will be several parking spots for retail and commercial businesses to use. The parking lot will be accessible through 7th Street. The 7th Street, as it is now, will be vacated. It's currently a dead-end street, and it will be vacated and just be used for access to this site. So we will not have any additional street access along State Street for this development. Additionally, this property will align with the current streetscape that's along State Street and through the downtown district. Sidewalks will extend to the face of the building, and this promotes human-centered design. Here is our landscape plan. This parcel is very unique in its shape and size, so landscaping has been maximized to the fullest extent possible. There will be live plant material in as many places as possible as well. There's also a significant slope on the west and southwest side of the building as you near the train tracks. This slope will require a retaining wall on the southwest side. The east side of the building, which is parallel to State Street, will have parkway trees and parkway sodding, similar to what already exists. If anything gets disrupted during the development process, it will be restored. And on the northwest and south sides of the building, there will be perimeter landscaping, and that will be a mix of sod and shrubs. The north and west sides will have sidewalks for parking lot users to access the building. Both parking lot islands will have trees and live plant materials. The far west side of the building will be sodded with additional shrubbery. And then there will be a dumpster that is also in the parking lot on that northwest side, and that dumpster will be fully enclosed and fenced like our code requires. For architectural elevations, they were approved by the Heritage and Architecture Commission on February 17th. The Heritage and Architecture Commission is that final deciding body within the historic district. This building will be in the historic district. So I'm going to walk you through the elevations so you can see them. However, they already have been approved by the H&A, so there will be, PZC won't have that governing body this time. This is the east facade that you will see. This is what you will see from State Street. It has the 3 floors. The exterior will complement and enhance the existing historic district streetscape. The building utilizes brick and masonry, composite siding and trim, cast stone, or precast accents such as bands, sills, headers, and cornices, aluminum storefront glass on the first floor, and operable fiberglass windows for the residential units. The massing of the building, the window placement and orientation, the spacing of facades, and the differentiation of overall frontage into varying facades is similar to what we see in the rest of the historic district, and that has been a very important consideration for the H&A when they were making their approval, that this aligns with the city's existing historic districts, although it will be a new building. This is what you would see if you were kind of standing on the corner of 7th and State Streets. So everything with the awning would be that retail space, and then above that, you will have your residential. And then on the back side of the building, the west side, there will be additional apartment units on the first floor. This is the west facade. This is what you will see from the parking lot on the rear of the building. And on that first floor, those are where the residential units will be too. So all the residential windows look the same as well. And this is a rendering of what you would see from the parking lot. This is the north facade, so if you're looking directly at the building from 7th Street. And this is the south facade, which you would see from the neighboring parcel, and you would be looking north. The floor plans, the first floor will be retail on the north and west sides, and then 5 apartment units. The first floor also has resident entries, stairwells, elevators, mechanical rooms, and a package room. The second and third floors will be identical, and they will each have 13 apartment units on the floors. We will talk through the standards for special use for planned development, and if the commission finds the findings acceptable, we will go ahead and move forward with recommending this to go to council. So the first standard, the proposed building or use at the particular location requested is necessary or desirable to provide a service or facility in the public interest and will contribute to the general welfare of the neighborhood or community. This development will increase the supply of downtown rental opportunities, both for residential and commercial uses. There will be new tenants in these apartment units that will create economic growth for existing businesses. And this building will serve as the north gateway into the historic district. It replaces a vacant building and a parking lot with a 3-story building designed to complement the historic architecture of the historic district. The second standard, the proposed building or use will not have a substantial adverse effect upon the adjacent property, the character of the neighborhood, traffic conditions, utility facilities, and other matters affecting the public health, safety, and general welfare. Staff finds that adjacent properties will not experience substantial adverse effects. The building's architectural design will complement existing historic buildings in the downtown. The development received a certificate of appropriateness from the Heritage and Architecture Commission. West 7th Street is a dead end and will be vacated for users of the property. Additional pedestrian signals and crossings along State Street will be added, and utilities are accessible to the site and sufficient to handle increased usage. The proposed building or use will be designed, arranged, and operated so as to permit the development and use of neighboring properties in accordance with the applicable district regulations. Staff finds that Livery Row will be in the city's historic district and within the greater downtown district. The greater downtown is currently undergoing a master plan, which calls for the redevelopment of this site as one of the early recommendations. This development received its certificate of appropriateness from the Heritage and Architecture Commission. A COA is required before any type of construction work can be done in the historic district. This next standard, in what respects the proposed plan is or is not consistent with the stated purpose of the plan development regulations. And the finding, Livery Row will offer a mix of residential and commercial uses in one building. The development is sensitive to the surrounding land use and design within the historic district. New residents downtown will increase the customer base for existing businesses, and new commercial businesses will encourage greater economic vitality within the city. The next standard, the extent to which the proposed plan departs from the zoning and subdivision regulations otherwise applicable to the subject property, including, but not limited to, the density, dimension, area, bulk, and use, and the reasons why such departures are or are not in the public interest. Livery Row promotes efficiency of design. The building matches the massing of other surrounding buildings. The use of the building aligns with uses on similar parcels. Parking for all residential units will occur on-site in its own parking lot. Due to the economical layout, traditional landscaping requirements in the city code have been slightly altered to fit this site. The next standard, the extent to which the proposed plan meets the requirements and standards of the plan development regulations. The finding, this comes from section 156.145 of the municipal code that outlines 4 standards. They include modifications from district regulations. This plan includes minimal modifications to regulations, the design standards, the city's Appendix B design guidelines are being followed, utilizing building materials compatible with surrounding historic buildings. And again, this building has received its certificate of appropriateness from the Heritage and Architecture Commission. For standards for open space, the site is modestly sized, yet in conformance with other downtown properties. There has been as much green space and landscaping added to the site as space allows. Signage, all commercial businesses operating in Livery Row will be subject to applying for sign permits through the city. The next standard, the physical design of the proposed plan development and the manner in which the design does or does not make adequate provision for public services, provide adequate control over vehicular traffic, provide for and protect designated planned open space and schools, and further the amenities of light and air, recreation, and visual enjoyment. The finding, existing public services and utilities are equipped to serve this new development. Diversity in uses on the site provides economic stability. Residential parking will occur on site. West 7th Street is a dead end. It will be vacated and it will be used as an access point to this property. There will be no new drives added along State Street. Additional pedestrian signage will be added to improve safety when crossing State Street. The next standard, the compatibility of the proposed plan development with the adjacent properties and the neighborhood. This site will mirror existing architecture and uses within the downtown district. The next standard, the desirability of the proposed plan development to the physical development and economic well-being of the entire community. Livery Row will offer opportunities for residential and commercial uses. This development is located along a major thoroughfare within the city, surrounded by other residential and business uses, creating an economically diverse community. This standard, the proposed development plan's conformity with the recommendations of the comprehensive plan of the city. The proposed plan is consistent with the comprehensive plan. The recommended motion we are making for you tonight, should the commission find the proposed mixed-use residential and commercial development acceptable, the following motion is suggested. A motion to adopt staff's finding of facts and recommend approval to the City Council of a special use permit for a planned development to allow a 31-unit apartment community with a commercial storefront, and a motion to recommend approval of preliminary final development plans in one step.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make one edit to that. The 7th Street will not be vacated. One of the things that has come up recently at the City Council level is we are pursuing the purchase of the 2 lots directly north of 7th Street to advance a new public parking lot to help serve this entire quadrant of the downtown. So it will remain public, just so that the public has control and the public has access to those public parking spaces. So I just wanted to clarify that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Alyssa. Nice job with your presentation. I would ask if the applicant, Dan, do you have anything to add? Would you like to?
Here to answer any questions that you have.
Okay. Commissioners, the floor is yours. Do you have any questions, comments for staff or for Mr. Kistler?
The couple things that sorry about that. The couple things that I notated when I was going through this over the weekend was the plan for the lighting in the back. I noticed where it was marked on the building, and then there were some other things that were on the other side of the parking lot. What type of lighting structures would those be that are, I know the ones that are on the building, that makes sense, but the ones that are not attached to the building, what will the lighting be? I guess it would be on the west, or the east, no, the west side.
Are you saying to light the parking lot?
Yes.
I don't have the specific make or model, but it would be a standard pole that you would find in any other parking lot.
And then Lance, I'm assuming we have the same, it looked like in here that's the similar guidelines to what we have, we have, you know, not crossing the lot lines, all that sort of thing. Okay, so those would be poles, so I believe there's 3 of those there, and then there was the ones that are on the building, which would be, you know.
Directional.
Yeah, okay. All right, and then it looked like on the south side of the building, there's an emergency exit only on the first floor?
As in egress for the tenants that.
Correct.
Correct.
Okay, and then that'll be locked though from that you won't be able to enter there, that's only exit?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Are we good? Any other questions, comments?
All right, the last one would be on the parking that would be on the north side. I'm just trying to think of like future tenants and things like that. Will that be restricted and assigned to those tenants, or will that be public, or, okay.
It'll be in the public right of way, so it would be public parking. We believe that we can get anywhere between right around 40 parking spaces in those north 2 lots. So the goal would be to be able to have all of that available for this development, for public landing overflow, for, you know, whatever else would occur in that. This is one of those areas in the downtown that has a parking deficiency. I'm sure that many people see that when the public landing is full with a shower or wedding reception or things like that, it overflows across State Street to the 8th Street side with the street parking, as well as into the old National Bank lot. So this is allowing us one more relief valve for that parking.
But what we're voting on today does not necessarily include that parking, but we're just, but that would be public, and then you also have the public by the library and so on and so forth.
What you're voting on today would include that parking.
Okay.
But it's not, it wouldn't be private. They're simply constructing it as a part of their entry process. We rebuilt that road last year as a part of just a street reconditioning that we did, so the asphalt is relatively new there, so this would just be adding those parking spaces along the front, and rather than having us come back a year later when we go to build the parking lot, messing up their sidewalks and stuff like that, they're gonna build that.
And would the parking behind the building be notated residents only, so that
Yes.
obviously you could see where I'm going here? If the landing has something going on, people park in there, I come home from work and I'm living on the 2nd floor, somebody's in my spot. Will there be like a sticker system or anything like that?
Yeah, it'll all be assigned specific to a resident. At this point, our plan is just to sign it as private parking and include, you know.
Unit number or whatever, yeah.
Correct. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Well, at this point, I would open the public comment section of this case, and if there are any folks that would like to come up and speak, please state your name to Kathy, and happy to. Nobody?
Thank you, Commission, for having me. My name is Ruben Pazmino, and I represent 723 South State LLC. We own the property located adjacent to the property in question today, the 711 South State, which is the proposed development livery roll development. First, I would like to express that I support this proposed development. I believe the project represents a positive investment in Lockport's downtown, and it is consistent with the type of growth and revitalization that this area of Lockport needs, which was one of the main reasons that my company purchased the property next door. The reason I'm here today is there's quite a concern of mine regarding rear access to the property, specifically the proposed design elements that may interfere with the ingress and egress to the rear of our building. This would be the southwest corner, that retention wall. Our property includes rear garages, private driveway, and parking for approximately 5 vehicles. For over 100 years, access to the rear of our property has been achieved via the alley and turning area that currently exists across the adjacent parcel. Based on the current development plans, the proposed retention wall and site configuration appear likely to do the following: restrict or eliminate access to our rear driveway, loss of current future tenant parking and garage access, interference with an existing lease and future leases, and possibly reduction in property value. Also, inability for service and construction vehicles to access the property via the rear, assuming that this wall is put up. Potentially also, since the parking in the rear would be eliminated, possible compliance and zoning issues due to the loss of parking. I respectfully request that the approval of the 711 South State development be made conditional upon the preservation or reasonable rear access to our property at 723 South State Street. This should include maintaining sufficient turning radius and maneuvering space to allow passenger vehicles and service trucks to access the driveway and parking areas located behind this building, our building. Whether the site design modification is done, an access easement, or other mutually agreeable solutions. As you can see, I've included photographs and visual documentation demonstrating this existing ingress-egress conditions that will be affected by the proposed development. As noted earlier, I wholeheartedly support this development and am committed to working cooperatively with the city and the developer. And for the record, I have been in communication with Dan and the city. Just like everything, I don't want a whoops, we forgot situation. I just would like this for the record. My request is simply that our property not be rendered functionally impaired, and that the reasonable access for passenger and larger service vehicles be maintained. Thank you.
Thank you, Ruben. I would just like to ask our attorney, is there something that applies to 100-year something?
No, I think what the gentleman might be confusing is adverse possession versus what he's calling a prescriptive easement. As he mentioned, he has been in communication with the city. He's talked to Lance, he's talked to the city administrator who's here tonight. I've consulted with them as well as with the mayor on this issue. It's really no different than any other property owner that enjoyed their property one way until adjoining property started getting developed. Prescriptive easements typically would be when a parcel is landlocked. Under Illinois law, real property law, you cannot have a piece of property that has no access. So you buy a piece of forest land out in the middle of the forest, you have a prescriptive easement to get to it because you have to be able to have access to your property. This particular, Mr. Ruben is Pazmino, right? Pazmino. Mr. Pazmino's property already has access from both State Street and 8th Street. As he's saying, he has enjoyed access through the alley, but he's enjoyed that through the property that is now owned by Mr. Klister and his company. Illinois law looks very sour on trying to take away land from somebody for somebody else, whether it be the government or adjoining property owner. I do note that in conversations that Mr. Benson and I had today, apparently Mr. Klister's company is willing to work with Mr. Pazmino a little bit to try and allow, albeit maybe not service trucks to come through, but some limited access. And just looking at the pictures, And it looks like there might even be something that Mr. Pasmino could do with that concrete barrier to widen his access to that alley. So it looks like it does have access. Would it be a prescriptive easement across Mr. Klister's property? In my legal opinion, no. So the 100-year thing is no different, like I said earlier, than any property owner that lived next to an open field and didn't like the fact that it was being developed. The law would look very harshly on taking away property from Mr. Klister to benefit an adjoining parcel.
Okay.
Have we or engineers done as drawn, would there be room, radius to go from the bridge to the property, Mr. Pasmino's property? Do we have a study that would show what that space is or anything like that?
So we haven't run any turn radii, or certainly Mr. Pasmino has not run those diagrams. What I will tell you is, based on just professional experience, is it would remove about 10 to 12 parking spaces if we were going to accommodate a full turn. The challenge is that the abutment for the bridge that is back there is only about 8 feet-ish away from the retaining wall that's being proposed, as well as the property line that's on that corner, making, even if you're driving in a parking lot, you typically do about a 45-foot radius on your car. So 45 minus 8 is you're about 38 feet short, 37 feet short. And so you've got to extend that into a site that is already topographically challenged, that has a retaining wall being proposed on it. What we have explored with that is the retaining wall that's being proposed is not directly, all the way back. There is still flat ground that goes along the railroad tracks back there. Somebody who is going to Mr. Pasmino's property could pull forward when they get on the bridge and back in between the barricade and the retaining wall. It does require a minor modification to the storm water outfall that comes off of the parking lot that Dan has, but it is something that is possible, and the applicant is willing to at least explore that. But it's really inconsequential as it relates to their final development plans. If it's something that ultimately requires an agreement, then there is a path forward to that. But currently, as it stands, there's no need to provide access unless the applicant would like to do that.
Lance, do you know who owns the bridge?
We do, and IDOT has assigned it to us. So we get the joy of taking and maintaining a bridge that serves one property for one car, or up to 5 cars, depending on how you park it back there. We obviously wish that we never owned bridges, because they're only maintenance nightmares and cost multipliers. But it is a challenge, and it is something that we are required to maintain.
So it sounds like this really comes down to a discussion, agreement, negotiation between Mr. Pasmino and Mr. Kistler.
Correct.
And I have a question. This might be for Mr. Pasmino or Lance. There does remain an access point from State Street, as Mike mentioned. Currently, there's a gate there. I don't know what that, long-term, what the distance is between. I couldn't quite find it on here. Do we know what that distance is? And if it would be possible to open that up to vehicular traffic? Sure. Could you please come to the mic? Yeah, thank you.
Are you referring to the dumpster pad?
I guess it would be to the north of Mr. Pasmino's building.
So that is currently a dumpster pad.
Okay.
That's where they currently service their garbage. The city has been willing to work with Mr. Pasmino to relocate the garbage dumpster into the 8th Street lot.
Okay.
We have a location that we've identified that we think would suffice for that. Which would allow that to be removed. If you've been there, there is an existing stairway that runs along the side of the Delwood tire site. It's in deplorable condition, but the area underneath that dumpster pad I wouldn't consider it sufficient to support a car in any long-term use. Ruben might have some additional information from studies that they've done Ultimately, IDOT and the city would like to remove as many curb cuts off of State Street as we can.
Right.
And we have also offered the opportunity to have a residential permit in the 8th Street parking lot to accommodate the apartment that's upstairs.
Okay.
Thank you. This was a part that I left off, sorry. So the access point off State Street would practically be eliminated, as the stairs that Lance mentioned, or Mr. Thies mentioned, will be eliminated, and that, correct me if I'm wrong, the wall, the barrier wall would practically take up all of the stairs. The actual platform that holds the trash bin has about an 8 to 10 foot drop. And I cannot build anything going down because of the fact that I was just made aware that I'm on a floodplain. So I can't build anything to go down there. So basically, we'd be eliminating all of the access from State Street into that parking lot, and then severely limiting the access from Commerce Street into that parking lot. Which, by the way, if we eliminated 5 or 6 spaces in the back, assuming that we occupied this building with lessees, all of those parkers, all of that parking space, which would make my building self-sufficient, would be pushed out into the street or in public parking. So that's the part I wanted to add. Thank you.
Or depending on what you do with the building, you could use the public parking.
Correct. We would expect retail just like it is in the public landing restaurant or the museum or the Canal Commissioners Building, the Will County Historical Museum, to be able to utilize the 8th Street public parking lot for any commercial uses. And obviously, if the city does move ahead and build a city parking lot, public parking lot, north of 7th Street on the 2 parcels that we are exploring, that would provide additional commercial parking and or permit parking for a resident. We currently have about, I don't know the exact number, but somewhere between 15 to 20 residential permits throughout the downtown. So we have some that park in the back in the Hamilton lot. We have some that park in the South Public Landing parking lot by the Scale House. And we have a couple other minor locations behind, I think, Nick and Ivy's Stagecoach. So it's not abnormal for us to be able to provide apartment permit so that they were able to park overnight in a public parking lot. And it's fairly regular practice for what we've done for other parcels that are landlocked, don't have any parking on their site, to be able to provide for those uses.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Last call for public comment. Seeing none, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion by Calderon, is there a second? I'll second that. Second by Machek. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Public hearing is closed. Okay. Further discussion, commissioners. This is between us now.
I think the plans look nice. I think that everything that, to build up that downtown area, especially in that lot, I understand the concern. But as the lawyer mentioned, it's property that would belong to the new tenant. And I did see the concrete barriers back there that could possibly, I think somebody mentioned, provide a little bit more space if turning radius if he had to.
Okay. Well, if there isn't any further discussion, I would call a question and ask if there is a motion. I'm going to put both motions together. Separate? Okay, we'll start with the first motion. Is there a motion to adopt staff's finding of facts and recommend approval to the City Council of a special use permit for a planned development to allow a 31-unit apartment community with a commercial storefront?
I'll make that motion.
There is a motion on the floor by Giorgetti.
I'll second that.
Second by Quinn. Any further discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none? Roll call vote, Kathy?
You got it. Quinn,
Yes.
Calderon,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Likens,
Yes?
Mycheck,
Yes.
and Giorgetti.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you, Kathy. There's a second motion. Do I have a motion to recommend approval of preliminary final development plans in one step for this case?
So moved.
Moved by Calderon. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Giorgetti. Roll call vote, Kathy?
You got it. Quinn,
Yes.
Calderon,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Likens.
Yes?
Mycheck,
Yes.
Giorgetti.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you, Kathy. Mr. Kistler? Glad you have another one going here. Looks great.
This will be on the committee of the whole meeting next week, Wednesday. So it would be on the, what is that, 15th?
15th.
And I apologize, Klister, not Kistler. Klister. Thanks, Dan. Okay, that is it for public hearings this evening. Our next item is new business, and we have case number 2026-005, which is concept plan for proposed 68-unit residential development, otherwise known as Royal Highlands. And I would open this up to staff.
Yes, thank you. So Raleigh Homes LLC has submitted a concept plan for an application for a plus or minus 24.418 acre, 68-unit residential community for the property generally located south of 141st Street between Smith Road and Basham Drive, and it is to be called Royal Highlands Estates. And just to make a quick note on concept plans, they are very general outlines. And what happens is an applicant will submit for a concept plan. Staff will review it to determine if this could be feasible for the area. If staff's reviews come up that this could be a possibility, we take the plan to governing bodies. So the first stop would be Plan and Zoning Commission. And then after that, if it's approved by Plan and Zoning, it goes to City Council for final approval of the concept plan. Approving a concept plan provides the applicant with reasonable assurance that they can move forward with their submission to rezone a property and submit a preliminary development plan. After a final concept plan is approved by council, the applicant will start the process to work with city staff on more detailed plans. So those would be things like stormwater, engineering, traffic studies, and landscape plans. So tonight we are just looking at a very general outline of the property. And background on the site, the petitioner is Raleigh Homes. The location is south of 141st Street between Smith Road and Basham Drive, plus or minus 24.41 acres. It is currently zoned R1 residential and C2 community commercial. It is a vacant site, and the request is a concept plan for a planned development. This is the current zoning of the site. On the west side is zoned R1 residential, and on the east side it's zoned C2 community commercial. The site is impressed with a special use permit for planned development that was granted in 2009. However, a development never occurred, and so the new applicant is coming forward and we will have to reapprove their planned developments with this, and they are requesting a rezoning. This is what the comprehensive plan calls for zoning. So the initial zoning was approved in 2009. Our comprehensive plan was put together in 2021. So our comprehensive plan calls for residential on the west side, lighter residential and denser residential on the east side. So the lighter yellow, that would be 1.6 to 2.5 units an acre. and that darker color, that brownish, would be 3.6 to 6 units an acre. This plan, again, was completed after the site was already zoned, but looking forward, this is what city staff and city council have approved that they would like to see in this area. Here we have a site plan. The property would have 26 single-family homes. Those are the light-colored boxes you see on the west side. And then the more orange-colored would be 21 duplex buildings, which would result in 42 housing units. There will be 2 locations for visitor parking in those attached single-family zoned areas. So the purple, the small purple, it's kind of hard to see, that would be visitor parking, and those are within the orange duplex homes. There will be 1 road in the property, Royal Drive, and there will be approximately 8.5 acres of open space. There will be landscape areas as well as a wet bottom detention basin. Right now, there are 2 proposed. Again, stormwater management will be a factor considered with later plans if this concept plan is approved. So there could be some changes on how stormwater would be managed through detention basins or other means. And the developer will be bringing city water and sewer to the site. These are some sample elevations that the applicant has provided. The maple model would be ranch-style homes. There is also the birch model with several different elevations. There is the oak model also with several elevations. There is a hickory model and an elm model. And the Deerfield model would be what you would see for those duplex homes. So we are now at our recommended motion. Should the commission find that the concept plan for the proposed 68-unit residential development acceptable, the following motion is suggested. A motion to approve the concept plan for a 68-unit residential development subject to the following conditions. The applicant acknowledges that staff has completed a general review only of the concept plan, and that a more detailed review will occur with submission of a preliminary development and/or final development plans. The second, staff comments at this time are general, intended to outline steps necessary if the project moves forward, and to provide guidance and considerations for future submittals. A new special use permit for planned development will be required. An amended annexation agreement shall be submitted with the submission of a final development plan application to address uses, general design standards, as well as other details, obligations necessary for the development of the property. A future zoning request for this project will be to add R2, which would allow for single-family attached units on the eastern portion of the site. Concept plan approvals are valid for 1 year from the date of the approval. Approval of a concept plan provides the applicant reasonable assurance to move forward with submission of a request to rezone and preliminary development plan. The preliminary development plan shall be in general conformance with an approved concept plan.
Thank you, Alyssa. Is the applicant here? Would they like to add anything to the presentation? No? It's all good.
Yeah, they're here, but we covered
Okay.
vast majority of
I
it.
thought I would ask. This is not a public hearing. We're not obligated to ask for the public for any comments they might have about it, but I would just, as a courtesy to our community, open it up if anyone would like to provide a comment, support, or other. You're welcome to come up, introduce yourself to Kathy, and otherwise, Commissioners will move through this. Commissioners, it's us. What do we think?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen some stuff for this before, and, I think that this makes sense. Right now, it's in the county, correct, it's zone C2, so theoretically, that portion right off of Archer could be convenience store or something along those lines, right?
It's incorporated.
Oh, it
Yeah,
is
this parcel is incorporated.
Okay.
The C2 would be city zoning. One of the challenges with this lot is it slopes off about 12 feet
Yeah.
from Archer down to the other side of the C2 lot, as we've experienced with a couple other parcels recently. The size of the retaining walls and the impacts that that has on access and other things made it particularly challenging back when the Route 171 plan was accomplished. That plan informed the comprehensive plan in 2021 that ultimately made the recommendation for a modification to it to be residential at a duplex-ish level type development type.
And then, but that's not official, we would have to go through this process to make that official on the eastern portion, correct?
Well, the comprehensive plan is simply a guideline.
Yeah.
It's something that provides the commission, it provides the council, it provides staff with kind of guidance on, what our approved plans are, what the projected vision for the city is. That helps us guide applicants down certain paths. They do not have any interest in building a commercial parcel out on there, and it is a challenging parcel to be able to build on. And so their request with an additional buffer along Archer to be able to provide for landscape and other things is to mirror the comprehensive plan to have their townhome, slightly higher density product on the east end and the single family regular sized, all of which meet our minimum standards in both zoning district on the west end.
Yeah, no, and I think it's an excellent use, and I think it's a good way to get a little bit more density on the property while still fitting all of our guidelines. I like the duplex rather than the consecutive townhome look for this particular, to be respectful of the neighbors that do have larger lots and things like that. So I think it's a really nice fit. I just wanted to kind of clarify that part about the commercial. So yeah, I think this is a nice use of the property, and I think that the plan fits and is respectful to the surrounding neighbors.
Relative to Commissioner Peters' comment that .5 is the rezoning of the commercial to R2, correct?
The 0.5.
I'm just looking at.
Item
Item 5, sorry. Item
yes.
5.
Yes, correct.
That changes the zoning.
Yes, and it will be different boundaries for that zoning too, so the R2 will actually get a little bit bigger than what the C2 is shown currently. The C2 is based on a typical setback or depth of a property for a commercial lot. This would be widened out a little bit further west than what that currently shows on the zoning map.
Okay. Other comments, opinions, gentlemen? I like it.
Yeah, Lance, do you, I know there's no enter or exit onto Archer Avenue. It all goes off of 141st and Basham or Smith Road on the other side. Do you foresee the potential need for a stoplight there ever on Basham with Archer because of this?
That would be contingent on IDOT, and IDOT didn't see the need at the Highland Ridge entrance with 240 units. I doubt that they will
Okay.
see the need for that for 68.
Okay.
And then this is, I know it's not a final plan, so we probably don't have an answer, but just for, if this were to get approved and we bring it back for a final plan, I assume there would be like a homeowners association that would be responsible for the public areas, and would that be just for the public areas, I'm assuming, for the attached homes?
However they set it up, there would be somebody to manage the detention areas, the landscape areas, ultimately whatever the buffers are established once we get to a landscape plan. Yeah, it would be maintained by an HOA.
Perfect, thank you.
Good questions tonight, Mr. Peters. I like them. All right. Doesn't sound like there's any other comment here, so I would ask if there is a motion to approve the concept plan for 68-unit residential development, subject to the 6 items as listed by staff as you see on the screen.
So moved.
Okay, motion by Quinn. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Peters. Any further discussion? If not, I would ask for a roll call vote. Kathy?
You got it. All right, Quinn,
Yes.
Calderon,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Likens,
Yes?
Mycheck,
Yes.
and Giorgetti.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. And Lance, does this go to Committee of the Whole then on the same date?
Yeah, so this will go next week, Wednesday.
Okay. Thank you. Well, with that, I don't see any other items on new business. I would ask if there are any citizens to be heard this evening?
Mr. Chairman, we did have 2 people sign up.
Okay.
What kind of cost are these single-family houses going to be, and how much cost are the duplex houses going to be? Is this going to be like an expensive neighborhood, just the average? What are we talking about? 400,000 or more? More than that, yeah. And what kind of sizes are these single-family homes?
Lance, your thing's off. Your thing's off.
Sorry, I'm turned off. I apologize about that. These single-family homes, we don't have specific floor plans for them. The images that were shown tonight are basically conceptual to show the general look, feel, style, size of what the homes would be. We'll get into a lot more detail on the square footages and the general price points once we move into the next phase, which is called preliminary final development plan.
Okay. And the lot sizes for the 26 houses?
The single-family homes are all over 10,000 square feet, so almost a quarter acre.
Okay. And you said open space, that's gonna be like 8 acres for the water, for the stormwater?
So our code requires 40% open space on the R2 portion, so the duplex portion, and 30% on the western portion, the single family. A lot of that open space, because of the neighbors' concerns and recognizing some of those, a lot of that open space is actually behind the homes. So it would provide for landscape buffering between the Tamling Drive homes and then these homes.
Right.
So we position that a lot of times behind those homes.
Now, I know there's a drain that goes from one side to the other side of the farmland, and the water that sits there now is much farther west. So you would be doing some sort of underground work to get that water to go to that retention pond
Yeah,
and stuff
for
like
sure.
that?
There will be a full stormwater study that's done on the overall property in the next phase of design. And then the stormwater ponds that are currently proposed in general locations will be sized to accommodate the stormwater. The general idea is that no additional stormwater will come off the site from what there is today.
Okay,
And we always try and help to make it better.
right. Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Was there another person signed up to speak?
Another name goes, man.
Would anybody else would like to speak this evening? In the back?
It's not them.
They're done? Hearing none, seeing none. The public citizens to be heard section is now closed. On to the chairman's report. I don't have anything new other than I will reiterate that, you're welcome, that I will be absent the June meeting, and I understand that Commissioner Mycheck will also be absent that day.
That's correct.
Some summer vacations starting. And I just want to make sure we have coverage. I know we'll have Mr. O'Hare joining us, so that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which would be a quorum. And I don't know, Mr. Peters may.
You said that's Wednesday, the 13th is the next one?
Yes. Well, it's not the next one. Next one's in May. I think
In
there's
June, I'm
specific-
sorry.
Oh,
this is
June. I'm
This
sorry.
is June. June, it is the June
Yeah, I'll be here.
10th.
Yep, I'll be here.
If you wouldn't mind chairing the meeting, would that be okay with you?
Sure.
I might have to look. I might have to be in Utah that week,
Maybe your wife will have to go,
maybe.
Commissioner Giorgetti. We need 4 minimum, correct?
Correct.
Please let us know.
I will let you know.
As we get closer, we'll check everybody's attendance and make sure that we get 4 people. If we need to delay it or do a special meeting to accommodate any cases that would be coming up in June, we'll go ahead and work with all of you to schedule a day that works.
Okay. Thank you. I don't have anything else. Commissioners, do you have anything? Hearing none. Staff?
2 items for you. Matt O'Hare's appointment to the commission was put on consent by the city council at their last meeting, so he will be seated 99.9999% sure at the May meeting. And so we'll have him sworn in at that meeting, and since Joe has moved up closer to the chairman, we'll have Matt sit back towards the end of the seat closest to me. So we'll go ahead and do that. Second item I have for all of you is that the Greater Downtown Plan continues to move forward. We have a staff level workshop downtown at RTA on Friday, where we'll be working through kind of their first draft on the preliminary recommendation portion of the document, and our hope is to have a steering committee meeting either late April or early May for the next phase in that.
That sounds great. Look forward to it.
Progress.
Anything else? Alyssa, you good?
Don't have anything.
Okay. I would ask if there is a motion to adjourn this meeting.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Motion by Giorgetti. Second by Quinn. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Okay, motion passes. The meeting is adjourned.